And we are back. Okay, so a couple things I kind of glossed over that I forgot about. So one of them was when I came back from New York, I actually started doing shows with Mixmaster Spade and Toddy T. And so like me and Mixmaster Spade really like became kind of besties. Like I called his mom, and I actually crashed one of my cars, my convertible, on my way to his house. I actually got hit by a car, totaled my brand new car my grandma just bought me on my way to go see him. But a wonderful soul. He's absolutely amazing. RIP Mixed Master Spade. Like never forgotten, right? That energy. We did a show at Compton City College at that point. It was awesome. I believe Two Live Crew was there as well. But Toddy T's, much love, homie. That I had to share, and also at the time when I first went into Hollywood, and it's not LA, it's Hollywood actually where I was at, right? But when I first went in, um, during that stretch, I have to share this between the first when I was in the My Prerogative video to the Grammy party for the first rap Grammy, I think whatever it was that Will Smith won the first time, right? That rap was really acknowledged in that stretch. Um, a friend of mine was actually dating, not dating, but a bodyguard of MC Hammer. I don't remember the whole backstory. All I know is that they're talking or whatever, and meanwhile I see this guy dancing, and I'm just sitting there like the third wheel, like, why did you bring me? This is so out of character because I thought it was a rapper and he's dancing and doing the splits and all this, you know. And he's like, yeah, my name is MC Hammer, and, I just put a song out and I'm out here promoting it. Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm a rapper too. He's like, really rap? So I rap for him. He's like, yeah, but you got to dance and you need a hook. And I was like, oh, what? I just rap for you. Like I just did a verse, right? Because I still didn't fully understand how the process works, to be honest. Like the record I'm on didn't come out for like a year later, to like a year later or so, maybe 2 years later. So then I understood the process. At the time I thought you just rap and then you get a record done like 19, 18. So this dude's like, yeah, you need a hook and you need to dance. And I'm like looking at him like there's no way I'm dancing. Like I don't know what you're tripping on. And dude blew up and then blew up and then blew up and then blew up and then stayed up for like years. He blew up like the next week. Like, Father, you know I'm not lying. I'm telling the truth. You know that, Lord. Because I was like, a hook? He's tripping dancing? And that's exactly, excuse me, whew, that's exactly what blew him up. Hey, man, that's how I blew up. So that was funny. Um, and then also when I say the lynch mob, I very familiar with Dazzy from the lynch mob, JD. You know, one thing about rap in that like little moment of time where like Ice Cube left NWA and these opposite camps were developing, but it wasn't like it was somewhat aggressive initially, but it wasn't super aggressive. It got super aggressive at the Marquise. That's where the lynch mob in New York, the lynch mob in Above the Law. Above the Law was with NWA after Ice Cube left, and the lynch mob was with Ice Cube. So they saw each other and got to it because they're from LA and there was already beef like brewing. So bad that D asked Dre about Ice Cube and he dang near killed her. Like I was shocked because D is the homie. Like what? Like why would you hurt her? Like what kind of threat? She's little petite. Jay's like, you know. And I do have to mention like Dre and I know Jinx, right? Jinx is Dre's cousin. Um, Dre came over Jinx's house one time when I was there. I saw him. He came in with Ice Cube. So it's not like I didn't personally see these people. Jinx was messing with my homegirl at the time. I was kind of hanging out with. one of Jinx's homies, and that's how life was going. You know what I'm saying? I was young and single, and it was interesting. It was in the hood. So on the off days when we weren't doing shows or whatever, that's where I was hanging out. My homegirl, me. Occasionally, we would have another one with us, but just living life, right? It was easy in that sense. The music industry now is weird. All this ritual stuff and whatever. Like I remember Lady C telling me she thought that she found black candles under the sink in Muff's house because Muff moved out of his house and let us move in as a group in New York. And Lena was kind of like hip to all the stuff. See, we weren't hip to what she was hip to, and we thought she was tripping. But now, in retrospect, after we're seeing all this stuff come to light about how music's created and how they pray over it and all this weird energy, right? All that stuff is really being exposed. So now I just remember thinking to myself, girl, because you're pregnant, you gotta calm down. Like I don't want you to have, she was upset a lot, and it affected me because I cared about her and her baby. Like I wanted her to be at peace, and I feel like she went home. I feel like she was like over it, but initially she was like looking for cleaner under the sink in the kitchen and clean the kitchen or whatever, and she found like all these black candles burnt and stuff. And I was like, I'm not saying Muff did that because I know Muff, he didn't do that, right? But I'm saying in that era of music, the 80s, there was a lot of witchcraft going on in man. And so for her to perceive that, I'm not mad at her because that's what the industry was thriving off of and blowing up off of. Amen. Okay, so done deal. That was in New York with the girl group. Now, and then after when I came back from New York, that was when I just shared hanging out with Mix-a-Lot and doing shows with him. So that's all my roots there. And then got married and chilled, came back, signed to Coolio. So with Coolio, here's the thing. I was there for the creation of Gangster Paradise, the album, all of it. I was in the studio all the time with them. So I was like really part of watching him like from the beginning to the blow up. Like I saw the idea, the concept, and him creating it, the concept that created his blow up, and then watching him experience the blow up off that concept. I was there when he did the concept. Do you understand? So from the beginning to the end. There were several other people God brought me around. Like he brought me around Michael Bivins in New York. I remember that. There was this group called, I can't even remember the name of the group, but I remember Nate, and it was like cruising down the street watching the 80s walk on by or something like that. It was a singing group in the 80s, the late 80s. So anyways, both of them, I met them. Curious George became a friend. He was awesome. He came out with a record, which I thought was amazing. He's very talented, but his energy was so nice. God sent me these people that just genuinely loved on me and treated me with kindness, right? Nikki, like, opened up. She ended up getting like a second house. Like, first, I was helping her in her other house, kind of crash couching. Then she got couch crashing. Then she got a second house, and it's brownstone. I have my own area. She got me jobs with her son's father had all these businesses, and she got me multiple different jobs to help me, you know what I'm saying, meet my needs because things was looking bleak with LA Posse. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. It went how it went. I still got the experience though that is priceless, and I got to be in Chungking multiple times. I got to be around Run DMC, both of them, Run and DMC, right? But Jam Master Jay was the other thing I left out, and I forgot all about it because Jam Master Jay literally wanted to sign me to a record deal. Like every time he sees me, he's like, I want to sign you. I want to sign you. And I'm like, okay. And then someone just killed him. You understand? Like, why would you kill Jay? He was like so dope. Best energy. Listen, the afros, best energy. Like, and they were the root of hip hop. LL Cool J, yes, met him. Of course, he flirted with me. Nothing happened. It wasn't that deep, but yeah, I met him. thought he was cool, but he had a really huge ego, and it was like overbearing, so it could only be for a limited amount of time. You know what I mean? In doses. Was he a dope rapper? Absolutely. Did his music influence me as an artist? Absolutely. Bigger and Deffer was actually created by LA Posse. LA Posse did the music. Okay. So God brought me in after LL moved out. God brought me into their camp. And so I was working with the people that did Bigger and Deffer. Like, that's a win. And then on top of that, MC Breeze. So MC Breeze did his thing, and that song was blowing up. It was absolutely so dope. MC Breeze is underrated. He's so dope. He's such a dope rapper. I really don't know why he didn't blow up because like blah up. He blew up with that song, but I'm talking about huge explosion, like right up their neck and neck. Other than there was some haterism, I think, because I think he was on the level of L Cool J, and somebody, quote unquote, who lives in Bali felt like there's only room for one when there should have been room for two. They could have been colleagues, right? But the monopolization, it segued into now we're over drenched with a bunch of crap and music. And if you had only just allowed those in that should have been let in, maybe music would have stayed hot, solid. And you know what I mean? We could have kept progressing. Now we're just in a weird space. Rap is in a weird space. Hip hop's in a weird space. And then like what cracks me up is when people are like you're like you had nothing to do with them getting their deal. Like please leave. I was a female rapper. I got signed to Geffen. Got signed to Geffen. I got signed to John Doe, which was Pat Charbonnet, which helped Ice Cube produce several films. A female that was his manager first. That was she owned my label. And then I signed to Geffen. Listen, all of those things got put into place, right? And then at the same time, Coolio's my management, right? And then Coolio fell out with Tommy Boy, and here we are, right? It is what it is. So, one day I'll get into the ins and outs of how they try to manipulate the money, but I wrote Cruising. And then on top of that, he was my manager for 4 years active. Okay, so like the first two was just touring with him, performing, and we actually performed Cruising twice. I was so nervous. I don't think it went well, to be honest. But then he had me performing LaShawn song, which was Mama, I'm in Love with the Gangster. And that felt even worse because LaShawn should be rapping that. That's her song with him. So I don't feel comfortable with that. Especially considering we had Cruising and it was blowing up. And then all of a sudden, when it came to getting it licensed, because the Tommy Boy was like, that song is so dope, that's the next single, right? When it was time to get it licensed, Josefa, who was working at the time at a record label, not a record label, a radio station, had connections with Smokey Robinson and his label, who also was working with Stevie Wonder. And so she put, and this is a true story. And if you ask people, they'll tell you it's a true story. Because my song was getting ready to be a single, she instead said, we'll give Smokey 100% royalties for Cruising if you can get Stevie Wonder to clear Gangster Paradise. So on the outside, that sounds like a great deal. He's giving up some publishing for one song so he can get the song that's really already blowing up cleared. Because it was about to be lawsuits and stuff, right? So they said, okay. And then Tommy Boy said, well, if you gave him 100% royalties, we can't make any money off that song. So that's not going to be a single. That's a true story. Gangster shiz. This music industry is crazy, right? Meanwhile, I was just looking, and my views, because Coolio has gone to be with the Lord, but so now I view it like it's me and the guys that produced the track and Shauna Stone, right? And the views is at like 660,000, right? On a song that has no video, never was released as a single, and never got promoted. There's not any faces other than the album cover as the song is playing. It means that literally people wanted to hear the song God blessed me with and position me to utilize with somebody. Like, that's a 1 in a million chance that I would be at a fair in Utah. And then 3 to 4 months later, I'm writing a song for the #1 solo artist in the country that ends up going on a #1 album that gets 1 billion streams and keeps being re-released to dilute it's insane. Like, I sit and think about it, like, why would I ever worry about anything? That's how God moves. Like, we can't be in fear all the time. We have to understand He's an active God doing things. He's setting up things perfectly every day. He's not, okay, He knows what we're facing. That freedom of choice is something special. It is not a good thing, in my opinion, but He's fair and just. So He's like, okay, if you look in the Garden of Eden, in the story of the Garden of Eden, it's first about what He provided us in terms of what eternity would look like if He set everything up and put us in it. He would like to place us in a garden like this, beautiful, with all these different settings, misting, no rain, just, the air waters the plants, and everything is prepared for us, and we're just walking around chilling in our birthday suits, right? Just chilling, not thinking about nothing else. The freedom of knowing the knowledge of good and evil, there's a price. And because He's just, He had to separate us from eternity into time. And that's when we stepped into time in this world. That's what the knowledge of good and evil cost us. Instead of having eternity in this beautiful place, exploring everything, we have a time limit. Amen. That's the price we pay for knowing good and knowing evil. And what I would say is, I believe God has the power to turn things that are like into good. And the fact that we have experienced both the offers of evil to go to that side and the offers of good or the results of good, right? We've experienced these anything you could ever want offers. To still choose God in that moment speaks volumes, and I think that's why there's a reward when we leave this earth. Amen. So there's that. Okay, so yes, time with Coolio, I may mention more, but yes, did a lot of touring, stayed at home towards the end, ended up going to Hawaii, another full circle moment. Run DMC opened for us in Hawaii. What? Keep in mind, my other two, I said Run DMC is who the first time I heard rap, and that's what made me want to rap. And now they're opening for us because I'm with Coolio and the 40 Thieves in Hawaii, right? And they're opening for us. Amen. Okay. So then, and honestly, I feel like, even though I saw them in Chungking and all that stuff a lot, I used to see Run all the time. I feel like they didn't remember meeting me, and that was weird to me. And I probably would have like focused on it more, but I will say I did the show with Ice-T was hosting, and I was with Coolio. And you gotta love Ice-T. He's like, he's the most pure soul. He really is. Like, you know exactly where you stand with him at all times. He's never been a game player, right? And God really gave him a lot of wisdom on how to navigate the industry, and I respect him so much for that and how he treated me. He never disrespected me, not once. Not once. Nothing weird. I never had to do anything. Just chill. Just show up. I'm backstage. I'm kicking it. You know what I mean? He may say hi or something. I may be standing there with Darlene for a few minutes talking or whatever, and then just play fighting with one of the people in Rhymes. And I was like the little sister. the little sister that hangs out. And I love that for me because that was a cocoon of safety. Nobody was being disrespectful. Amen. Thank you, Ice. You're the bomb. Big brother energy. And then he, came up to me out the blue. Like he got off stage and he walked over to me and he goes, I see you, Malika. I'm so proud of you. Keep going. And it blew my mind because I thought really I had become invisible because what God has done is take me in the industry and take me out, take me in the industry and take me out. So I've never just been in it consistently, but I've always been in contact with people. And so I'm still in it. Like we're still rapping at home, writing lyrics, whatever. Only recently now I just put my own stuff out because I don't feel like dealing with all the drama. And now we see why, because what in the world just happened with the industry and all of this stuff with, I don't even want to say the people, but one's incarcerated and the other one's damaged mentally and emotionally. And, just so much drama for what? We just trying to do music, right? And that's too much. So that's the balance of power, I would say. But with Coolio, I did some demos. I will say this, it's a funny story with Coolio. We went in, he would come in. I had like somebody working at Crowbar that was kind of handling my stuff, but Coolio would come into the meeting. So we had a meeting with Def Jam South. So Def Jam South, we're in there talking, and I feel like I met that chick. I can't remember, but Coolio just all of a sudden he's like, remember was it Warren's video? It might have been Warren's video. Somebody's video. He said, remember when all them t-shirts came up missing? She's like, yeah. And you could tell she was kind of irritated by it. And he's like, yeah, that was us. We took all those shirts. And I was like, oh, why would you say that? Like, we're trying to get me signed. Like, so needless to say, I did not get signed there. That was the end of that conversation. And then with Dre, he took a look at me. I think he ended up going with not Rage. Rage was already out. I think he ended up going with Eve. And great choice because she's an awesome MC and I was not Dre material. I'm good, right? So, and I don't know. She killed it for like a long time. I was very proud of how females were coming out and doing their music. I just am not. I would never that vibe. I'm more like, I don't know. I'm my own style. You just have to listen to my music. There's several videos if you're curious. If you look down in my playlist, I have Malika's videos. There's tons of videos, music videos of me and my son the past and whatever. So all the information you need is down below in the box. Anyways, just saying. So after a few years, I got finally a call back. Ice Cube's ex-manager, Pat, was starting a label. She already had an artist named Gooch who was actually working with Jinx. Jinx was actually from my Ice-T days. I had mentioned previously in this video. He was dating one of my friends. It felt familiar, it felt good, it felt comfy, so I went for it. I got what I wanted at that time as a female artist. I was the highest paid, especially on the West Coast. For a first album or for the first time record deal. Now, obviously, as you blow up, your record deals get better and better. But as you're coming to the board for the first time and nobody's seen what you can do, I got an excellent record deal. I was very excited, and it was the highest female record deal at that time. Also, during that time frame with Coolio, I was the first female artist to write the entire song for a rap, for MC, right? For a rap. Not singing, but for rapping. So that was what God did for me in that era with Coolio. And not only I watched Coolio just explode, go from nothing to explosion. It was dope. I'm so proud of him. I don't care like how he passed. I do believe there's something fishy there that needs to be looked at. Period. I said it. Am I gonna look at it? Nope. Nope. Because I was in conversation with them. We were on a very good standing. That was my friend till the end. So I don't need to go talk to other people and figure it out because I know where his head was at and I know what he did and didn't do. Okay. Second thing is, I did do some stuff with Comic View. So here's what's crazy to me. there was a season of BET Comic View. People my age, like in their 50s, should remember this if they were watching Comic View. There was a season of Comic View where at the end there was a performance during the credits of a singer or a rapper, right? So me and the 40 Thieves, we did those shows. We did 2 separate songs, so we did a total of 2 shows each. So Crowbar had 4 shows in that season, and for some reason, I cannot find that season anywhere. Nobody has it. So I can't even see myself on there performing to critique it or anything. It can't be found. BET's like, we don't know where it is. How could you lose the whole season? What happened? Right? What are you talking about? And then I have rights. Where's my crap? If you film me, you supposed to give it to me, right? Where is it? So that's what I mean by I feel like the industry tried to erase us a little bit. Something happened. I don't know what. I don't know if Coolio wouldn't take the pill or what, but it feels like, especially with the 40 Thieves, they had a whole record out. And Tennessee Pippin was a single and it was blowing up. And I'm on their record, right? I'm on their posse cut, and me and PS did a song together called All I Want to Do. And there's a version where I'm just on the hook, and then there's a version where I have a verse. And we were blowing up. And then the posse cut was blowing up on the bubbling down under charts, right? And that's when I met Maze, and Maze told me that even Puffy was looking at us, like 40 Thieves, like in comparison with Biggie's group, with Little C's and Lil Kim and everybody in it. So like it was a weird rivalry kind of energy, and then I don't know what happened, to be honest. Other than people infiltrated, I feel like he had a handler while he was here, right? That was like feeding him information that was false, and like, feeding his ego and stuff like that. That sucks because he was a really good person. Like when my son passed, that's the person I felt it affected the most. Besides me and my son's, like his family, you know what I mean? Person just out in the world that like is not related to us. Yeah, I feel like it affected him the most. He showed up the most for me and my kids in emotional support. Coolio, right? And then allegedly died 6 months later from the same thing. Come on. In that conversation with my son, we discussing that's how they killing people. That's what me and him talking about. That's how they killing people now. They don't have to use a gun. They slip it on him. And then he dies of that because he in there partying. You're right. No. The sad thing is, someone he trusted took advantage, was probably paid and gave him what, and that's that. So look at that. It was just 2-2. I just seen it up there. It was 2-8, 2-2. Okay. So God bless you. So much more to discuss. I ended up actually being on Geffen, and so was Jizza. So I actually met RZA and worked with RZA in the Deadly Venoms. We'll get to that in the next video. Very generous soul. RZA is the real deal, a real true creative presence, and very solid, always respectful. I never felt disrespected at any point. I always felt like I'm being treated equal, that my opinions or whatever I'm presenting, he would assign me. He said, if you can give me one more song like that, I will assign you right now on the spot. I played 2 for him, and I couldn't find the other song. I had it, but I couldn't find it. It wasn't in my bag that day. I just had the first 2. And so he would assign me. I would assign with RZA. RZA will say, when they were out on the West Coast and they had the Wu-Tang West Coast records and stuff, I was coming around and listening and hanging out and stuff, but in moderation, because I was getting older and just not really into hanging out as much. Like if someone didn't have music that I actually liked, I really didn't want to be around them. Not to be mean, but it's not for that. I actually like music. I like music. So I like to hear music being created. I love to be part of that element. I'm not trying to be seen and heard. not trying to be your little hoe. I'm not trying to be, you know what I mean, the groupie in the studio doing weird shit in the booth. And no, I want to hear the music get made. That's dope to me. Okay. So don't misunderstand. Like I was in the studio with Nate and Warren, right? I was so honored. Warren let me come in and just listen to him and Nate create. And lucky I got to meet Nate because Nate passed away like I think a few years later, not very long, pretty quick after that. He passed away, right? And I was so grateful that Warren let me have that experience just to be in the presence. There's a creative energy that is so beautiful to watch when it's not being impeded on, right? Like it's not being forced to turn into something else and it's just naturally evolving. There's something dope about that. That's the music that I like, the real music, not the processed music for the fans. I appreciate the fans. We love the fans, but the truth is we have to do music because it's true to us. That's who we are and we're expressing ourselves that way and it's a healing for us as artists. That's the music I listen to. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.